Well, a historic and controversial day in Alaska with Donald Trump rolling out the red carpet for Vladimir Putin, but no deal reached on the war in Ukraine.
Mr. President, I'd like to thank you very much, and we'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening.
In your press conference, you talked about a lot of things that you agreed on, and maybe one big issue you don't agree on. Are you prepared to go public with that?
No, I'd rather not. I guess somebody's going to go public with it. They'll figure it out. But no, I don't want to do that. I want to see if we can get it done. You know, it's not a done deal at all. And we agreed on a lot of points. I mean, a lot of points we're agreed on. But there's not that much. There's, one or two pretty significant items, but I think they can be reached. Now it's really up to President Zelensky to get it done. And I would also say the European nations, they have to get involved a little bit.
Volodymyr Zelensky is now on his way to Washington to meet the US president. We'll be live to Washington later in the program. Well, speaking of matters in the United States and the hunt for world peace, it's going to be a huge trip for Prime Minister Anthony Albanese next month. He goes to the US for the UN General Assembly, where he announced last week Australia would recognise the state of Palestine. This decision has come under criticism at home and from the United States administration, as it's seen as pleasing Hamas, although Prime Minister Albanese insists it does not. The hope of the Australian administration is that a meeting can finally be scheduled between Donald Trump and Anthony Albanese during this trip. Will that declaration around Palestine affect the hopes and or tone of that meeting, is the question. On Saturday, Republican and Democratic congressmen were hosted at Kirribilli House by the Prime Minister, where they gave an endorsement to the AUKUS nuclear submarine agreement. Well, we've been talking about it for weeks, and there's even some confusion around the name. Is it a productivity roundtable or an economic reform roundtable? And is it just a meaningless talk fest, or will it lead to some change? And if it does lead to change, has that already been predetermined by the government before we even get there? We know in terms of tax reform, changes to the GST and capital gains tax and negative gearing have already been ruled out by the PM, but there does seem to be consideration of a road user charge. So will this happen? Will it mean fuel excise comes off and charges are levied on every motorist to make up for the fact electric vehicles don't cop the fuel excise? Will it mean vehicles are taxed? I've been told not to expect an outcome this week on this one, but it's my understanding that the government want to progress some things in the next budget and a few things at the end of the roundtable. And we've had some leaks which suggest things like environmental regulation and a freeze on the construction code to get the economy more productive and moving could be announced. Now, we know the roundtable runs from Tuesday to Thursday night, and we know businesses and unions are represented. RBA Governor Michelle Bullock will address productivity trends day one. The chair of the Productivity Commission will address productivity regulation day two. And Jenny Wilkinson, the head of Treasury, will talk budget sustainability day three. An all-female cast here with the very final session of the roundtable on the Thursday afternoon being the CEO of the Grattan Institute, Dr. Aruna Sathanapalli, talking tax reform, headlined A Better Tax System.